Okay, boys and girls, I've made several videos today, so you're probably seeing the same hair and makeup and outfit. But I've got one more that I wanted to do. A few days ago, I read Pete the Cat Rocking in My School Shoes, and I told you that while I love Pete the Cat, that was not my favorite Pete the Cat story. My favorite Pete the Cat story is Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. Now, this one is also written by Eric Litwin, and the art is by James Dean. And this one says that James Dean is the creator of Pete the Cat. So he imagined Pete in his head and put him on some paper. So Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. Lots of pages to flip through. Pete the Cat put on his favorite shirt with 4 big, colorful, round, groovy buttons. He loved his buttons so much, he sang this song. See his buttons? 1, 2, 3, 4. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! One of the buttons popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? So if he had 4 buttons and one popped off, 3. 4 minus 1 equals 3. Minus means to take away. So now he has 1, 2, 3. He says groovy. See, 3, groovy. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? He had 3. Another one popped off. 2. 3 minus 1 equals 2. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? Can you remember? He had 2 and 1 went away. 1. 2 minus 1 equals 1. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My button, my 1 groovy button. My button, my 1 groovy button. Pop! Oh no! The last button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? He only had 1. One popped off. That's right, 0. 1 take away or minus 1 equals 0. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. Pete looked down at his buttonless shirt. And what do you think he saw? His belly button. And he kept on singing his song. He says it's all good. But this is how a song goes now. My button, still have my belly button. My button, still have my belly button. I guess it simply goes to show that stuff will come and stuff will go. But do we cry? Goodness, no. We keep on singing. It says buttons come and buttons go. And that's true, isn't it? Not everything always stays the same. And sometimes change is hard. But we just have to say, do we cry? Goodness, no. And we keep on singing. Told you that's a good one. That one's my favorite Pete the Cat book. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do.